Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenem. In this video, I want to talk about being a writer. More specifically about being a poet, but I'm just going to start with, so you want to be a writer. And starting this video, I will read Charles Bukowski's poem called So You Want to Be a Writer. After I read it, we can dive in and talk more about being a writer. So You Want to Be a Writer by Charles Bukowski. If it doesn't come bursting out of you, in spite of everything, don't do it. Unless it comes unasked, out of your heart and your mind, and out of your mouth and your gut, don't do it. If you have to sit for hours staring at your computer screen or hunched over your typewriter searching for words, don't do it. If you're doing it for money or fame, don't do it. If you're doing it because you want women in your bed, don't do it. If you have to sit there and rewrite it again and again, don't do it. If it's hard, just thinking about doing it, don't do it. If you're trying to write like somebody else, forget about it. If you have to wait for it to roar out of you, then wait patiently. If it never does roar out of you, do something else. If you first have to read it to your wife, or your girlfriend, or your boyfriend, or your parents, or to anybody at all, you're not ready. Don't be like so many writers. Don't be like so many thousands of people who call themselves writers. Don't be dull and boring and pretentious. Don't be consumed with self-love. The libraries of the world have yawned themselves to sleep over your kind. Don't add to that. Don't do it unless it comes out of your soul like a rocket. Unless being still would drive you to madness or suicide or murder, don't do it. Unless the sun inside you is burning your gut, don't do it. When it is truly time, and if you've been chosen, you will do it by itself, and it will keep on doing it until you die or it dies in you. There is no other way, and it never was. Whoa, that's some intense poem by Charles Bukowski. Well, yeah. So you want to be a writer. Why? Why do you want to be a writer? What about writing fascinates you? What do you love about writing? A lot of times, writers love saying that they're writers more than they write. So there's more saying than doing a lot of times. And I think that's what Charles Bukowski was kind of aiming at, to like say, if you're doing it for fame or money, don't do it. If you're doing it to please other people, don't do it. If it's not something that's a live or die situation, kind of, it's like, don't do it. It's an intense poem. I absolutely agree. But writing is kind of like intense and takes a lot from a person. So I am not just a writer, I'm specifically a poet. So I do write poetry. I am trying to write my first novel right now, and trust me, it's not going good at all. It's it's going terribly. But with poetry, I've been doing that since I was 14 years old. And I love poetry. I love writing poems. I have 4 published books, and reading Charles Bukowski's poem right now tells me so much. Like, I do want the fame. I do want the money so that I don't have to work 9 to 5, and not have to work to make a living. So when you write and you want that as a career, somewhere at the back of your mind, you're like, am I ever going to make money from this? Is anyone going to read it? Are people going to love my work, or are they going to hate it? So, but if that's your solitary reason for doing it, to become a famous author or a famous poet or a famous writer, don't do it. I agree with Bukowski. Don't do it. And I think for me, I have struggled. I fit into a lot of the things he said. I've tried to please people with my writing. I've tried to become famous from my writing. I've tried to make money from my writing. And my writing has suffered as a result of wanting those things, desiring those things. And a lot of times I'd be frustrated and not want to write anymore because no one's reading it, and no one knows who I am. And, you know, it's like if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, did it actually fall? If I write a poem and no one in the world ever reads it, is it really poetry? That's how I feel most of the time. I feel like no one's reading my work. Is it worth writing? Should I keep writing? Should I just give up on writing? So you want to be a writer. Why do you want to be a writer? That's the first and most important thing you need to know. Why? Your why. Your why would keep you in the game for a very long time. Your why would determine your stamina, your fortitude, your tenacity to stay in it. Because it's not easy. Writing is not for the faint of heart. When you write, you will be criticized, you will be judged, you will be loved also. So there's a good part and a bad part to being a writer. And a lot of times, being a writer is this shiny thing people desire, trying to be like Carrie Bradshaw from Sex and the City, trying to be some shiny, bright, world famous New York Times best-selling author. And the thing is that there's just a small percentage of writers in the world that get to that status. So if you're chasing that and you never get that, you'll be so unhappy. You'll be so unhappy. Your journey and your experience would not be exciting at all. You would not love it. It would be torture. But then you need to know your why. Why do you want to be a writer? Why are you writing? Why did you start writing in the first place? You know, if you know your why, you can survive any how. I think there's a quote, I don't remember who said that, but yeah. If you know your why, you can survive any how. Basically saying that if you know why you're doing something, the passion behind it, the reason behind it, you can survive almost anything, that gets thrown at you. So you need to know your why. My why, personally, is survival. Writing poetry is cathartic for me. It's therapeutic. It helped me survive through the dark periods of my life. I've had a lot of dark periods of my life, and I started writing as a kid to survive the dark times. I couldn't speak my pain, so I wrote my pain. That's how I got into poetry. No one ever taught me how to be a poet. I never studied literature or poetry or anything like that. I was just writing my pain, and then I found out the format in which I was writing was called poetry. It was a complete accident, and it was interesting. So it was survival. Poetry has been a survival tool for me, to keep on living, to keep on surviving through the difficult parts of my life and things that have happened to me. So when I could write out my pain as poetry, there was kind of like a shield between me. So it wasn't like it was I kind of write like confessional poetry, like Sylvia Plath and Anne Sexton. So where it's you write about your experiences and the things you've gone through and all of that. So I kind of write confessional poetry, and when I write, I try to keep a distance between me, like a wall between me and the character in the poem. But yeah, just being able to write and let it out is my why. It frees me. It makes me feel it's kind of like a release. I feel free. I feel lighter. I feel lighter after writing, and it's kind of like a survival toolkit for me. So that's one of my whys. My second why is other people might be going through the things I've gone through, might be experiencing pain, might be experiencing some other things in their life, heartbreak, looking for love, things like that, so many things like that. And being able to write about it makes them feel less lonely, makes them feel they're not alone in the world. There's someone else who has experienced this and understands how they feel. So that's my second why. I want to be like a friend through my words for people in their darkest times, in their good times, in their happy times. But I just want to be someone who understands for the people who are going through something similar, like I have gone through in my life. That's my second why. So, of course, knowing my why has kept me in the game. Not easily, it's been difficult, very, very tough, and very, very challenging. A lot of times you want to give up, you have writer's block, you feel bad for having writer's block, you feel bad for selling out. When I do my 9 to 5 and I don't write for months and months, sometimes years, there's that guilt that stays there. But I still always come back to poetry. I'm going to share my second book with you. This is my second book that I've written. It's called The Calligraphy of God. It has a brand new cover now, but it has like over 150 poems in there, and about 150 poems in there. And yeah, this came out in 2016, and I just wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And this is my second book. I've written 4 books, and in this book particularly, it's my favorite of my 4 books. Yes, I do have favorite. It's my favorite of my 4 books, but I think maybe one of the reasons is my favorite is like maybe the purest in a way. I don't know why. I just have some kind of emotional connection to the book. And yeah, so writing, that's my why. So when you know your why, I think your next question could be your how. How do you write? So the different genres of writing. There's poetry, there's fiction, non-fiction, biographies, memoirs, and so on and so on. Science fiction. There's just so many genres. So how do you want to write? Do you want to write poetry? Do you want to write a novel? Do you want to write non-fiction? Self-help, science fiction, horror like Stephen King? You know, how do you want to write? What story do you want to tell? It depends on the story that is shooting out of you like a rocket, as Charles Bukowski said. You know, what is that story that's shooting out of you like a rocket? So you determine how you tell the story. So your how it's going to be determined by you. How you share your story to the world, how you present the story that you want to tell. You have to choose how. You have to determine how based on the story you want to tell. And then I think your when matters. When do you want to start writing? I would just go in straight and say the best time is now. Like, just do it. Just do it. You know, it's like if you postpone, you're just gonna keep postponing and postponing. Just get down and just write it. Just write it. Just let it out. don't care about, like Bukowski said, rewriting, trying to please people, thinking about what people will say. Just let it out. Write, and just write. And then later you can care about the rest of it. But tell your story in your own way. So when I would say now, I'm a writer who prefers solitude. So that's my next tip. Where do you write? I prefer solitude. Some people like writing with other people. I'm a solitary person. So you can write in solitude, you can write at home, you can write at the library, you can write at the coffee shop, you can go on a retreat, you can go somewhere far away from everyone, you can write in front of everyone. Just find your method. Find your method and have a method to your madness, and just write your story and share it, and find a place, a sacred place. So it could be a desk at home, it could be anywhere, just a place that you go to write, to let it all out, to hear yourself think and just let it out. Find your medium. How do you want to write? Do you want to write on your computer, on your phone, pen and paper? You have limitless mediums to write. There's no excuse. So, yeah. So I've talked about when, where, how, why. Yeah, I think that covers most of what I want to say in this video. There would be like a part 2 where it's more structured and maybe I have more tips and things like that. But out of everything I've said today, the most important thing is your why. Why do you want to be a writer? The reasons have to be good and solid, to keep you in the long run, you know. So, yeah. Yeah. Like when you think about inventions in the world, a lot of times they're born out of, a very strong why, you know, a very, very strong why. Why did you create a computer, or why did you create a telephone? There's Your why matters so much, you know. Now I'm talking about writing, but like on my channel, you can see my weight loss journey, about where I've lost 100 pounds, and I my why for why I wanted to lose weight mattered a great deal. That's why I'm still going on that journey. Why do I want to lose weight? So, and it's just simple. I want to get healthy. I want to be fit. I want to be able to do things that I want to do, without feeling weighed down, and sick, or all the other things I'm not going to talk about in this video. But my why mattered the most. It mattered the most. So find your why, find your reason, and once you found your reason, find your voice on paper or your computer. But yeah, find your why. I think I would stop there in this video, and I would make a part 2. If there's anything you want me to touch specifically or talk about more specifically about my experience as a writer, let me know, and I will absolutely share it. I have over 20 years of experience writing, and I would absolutely love to share my story and help you in any way you want. Any questions you have, any suggestions, any words of wisdom, or sharing your experience, let us know in the comment section. And thank you so, so much for watching my video. Thank you for coming to my channel. And if this is your first time, welcome. And if it's not, welcome back. This is a brand new channel, a small channel. And I do hope that you come back. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And share this video to anyone you think it might be helpful to. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.